back in the studio with my bros. Red is on the other side of the studio, and he'll go for a long time. Too many words, and then there's Beige. Beige is a real thinker. He gets into the weeds about different things. Welcome back to Heroes of Humility.
Crap.
And
Wow.
this is going to be kind of a weird one because Levin had to leave. We don't have the benefits of 11, but we do have the benefits. To my right, one Beige. Say hello to the family and the friends and the listeners out there. What's happening, dude? Red, it's your turn.
sorry.
Red, he was teed up, dude, and he dropped. So now it's your turn.
Drop trowel.
Okay.
Yeah, good morning. Or good afternoon, or wherever.
Yeah.
Let's
wherever
get
you're
into the
located.
topic for this one. This was something Beige and I discussed. Everybody gets to have some participation in what the topics will be. This one is, at what point during your day when you run into people that are just taking liberties too far with their fellow human, do you say, I'm just going to go ahead and let them do their thing? Or is there a point where you say, I just can't bite into that S sandwich today. I'm sorry. I know you always try to serve it up, but today, I just can't tolerate it.
Heroes of
Humility, 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 humility. Humility, humility. This is not a charade. This is real. These words you are about to hear are coming from real humans on a mission to save the human race from itself. Buckle up while these delusional heroes of humility, aka hoes, attempt to right the wrongs in everyday human behavior. There's times, where you have to be gracious in life, and most of the time you have to pick your battles, right? So that's kind of what this one's about. How's everybody doing? I know we took a nice break. We all get
Fantastic. We
some
got
beef sticks.
Nourishment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we got
beef
some-
sticks. Some of us had applesauce. Beige, how come you didn't have any applesauce, dude?
It's too much sugar in the applesauce, buddy. Too much.
Well, you're going to
carbs.
use it in the gym where you do your
No, 'cause
glam muscles.
I'm not working out today.
Have you noticed?
These are utilitarian
Ooh,
muscles. I'm not about
yeah.
the beach.
You're
the
more
beach
like a
muscles.
James Bond, not just about trying to be an Adonis just for the sake of Adonisness.
True.
You're
true.
also about
functionality.
Yeah.
Functionality.
Most of this will be cut on this one. We're warming up. That's about 2 minutes that I'll cut. If you've gotten this far in it, thank you very much.
Definitely the song. Cut that out.
We'll cut the song. I guess we could have said that in the quiet afterwards, but you had to say it up on the so everybody can hear that you said that my singing has to go. Yeah, that's okay. Let's start out friends. Let's be friends at the beginning and not get right into the enemy, the deep-seated contention. Yeah, the deep-seated contention. I was at Costco and I saw somebody that saw me coming and they didn't move. You just can't attack every situation with... Do you ever watch Curb Your Enthusiasm? Have you guys seen that show? He doesn't let
I
anything
have.
go.
Yes.
That's the guy that came up with Seinfeld. He helped
correct.
create Seinfeld. You've never seen it, Red?
No.
Okay. His name's Larry David, and he never lets anything go. And there are times in your life where people like that appear to be heroic, but you can't. It would be too much stress. You have to let some things go. And that person in Costco that clearly sees there's not enough room for both of us, their cart's there because they're going to go get a sample. And they're just totally locked into that as their mission. And where the rest of us are trying to neatly dance around their cart, but they have a couple feet of room. They could have moved their cart off farther to the right, but they didn't. They just had the audacity to leave it right there in the middle because they saw their sample of food. You think, man, that's discourteous, dude. But you won't want to go Michael, what's his name? And he just went ballistic one day.
Falling Down with Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas, dude. You don't want to go all Michael Douglas on everybody in Costco. You're trying to keep the peace, but sometimes it's hard, man.
Well, I think with that, there's some things that are a minor transgression, and I would consider that to be maybe a minor transgression. I mean, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's my assumption. But it depends on how you feel that day, I guess. Are you having a bad day or are you having a good day? If you're having a bad day, you might say something. And the way I handle a lot of times is don't want to be directly confrontational to somebody, but I kind of let them know through body language or through grunting.
Ooh, yeah, I've heard about your grunting.
Yeah, that you're not,
because they used to sit over kind of kind of sit next to you in the office,
or maybe you just say something like, seriously?
Yeah,
and that kind of gets the point across where you don't really go to the person and be like, look, dude, you don't have that direct confrontation, but you let them know like this is not appreciated.
Yeah, it's hard to let people know, and that's where you try to do the math. Is this something I need to let this person know?
Like it's a public service, right? Because maybe they don't know, I guess.
Maybe
and
they
you're
don't
letting
know.
them know that, like, hey, this is not okay, what you're doing here.
Yeah, I guess. And what I realize is that we may have touched on this once before, but it bleeds over into different areas of life, because you probably could have a podcast just purely on this topic. Where do I draw the line during my interaction with my fellow human? Is there a point at which there's a diminishing returns? Because I don't know that you're necessarily going to have the impact that you desire, which is maybe to change some kind of behavior. Maybe you'll never interact with this person again, but I did hear...
So then you could live under the delusion that you did have an impact on them.
Delusion is not a bad place to be, honestly. Right. I think there's a lot of healthy...
So you can tell yourself, look, I reacted that way. Now they know, and they'll never do that again.
Yeah, you save the world.
You just save the world.
You might have made a huge difference in other people's lives, but if you examine the truth, which is probably that you're causing yourself a little more duress and stress by engaging in it in such a cognitive way where now it's become part of your... If you can find a way to let things go, I'd say 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to be better off. I don't think you're going to have the magical influence that you'd like to have over people. Children, maybe constantly, maybe conformity at some point if it's prevalent enough and repetitive enough, but people only move small degrees from left to right. If I remember right, I took a persuasion course. It's coming back to me a little bit, but you have small increments of change that you can have an impact on people. If you're shooting for a broad change, it's less likely. The probability of you making somebody go from one end of the continuum on the way they behave to a different is, because then it's not necessarily, behavior is even different. A thought or a cognition or the way somebody perceives themselves is not necessarily aligned with their behavior. The behavior could be a little bit more emboldened because they're not thinking things through. They just leave the shopping cart in another zip code right in front of everybody else's parking spot, because to them, they're not putting a lot of cognitive effort into that, but they want to believe they're a decent human being at some point in the day. They're not a pathological murderer. Maybe they are. I often have thought that somebody who does that has some pathological issues, like they might seriously be harmful.
Yeah, but I think depending on the circumstances, you have to give people different levels of grace on certain things.
Yeah.
You bring up the Costco example. If you go to Costco and say there's, I'll use myself here, but say there's like a guy with like 4 kids there, little kids and
a bunch of little punks,
and they're all running around.
Probably
he's like
spanking, dude.
Herding cats, and he leaves his cart in the middle of the aisle.
Yeah.
Give him a little grace, because it's like, okay, this guy's distracted with 80 million other things going on.
His life is already over.
He's probably got more priorities than just where he left his cart in the aisle, because he's busy chasing all these kids around the store and making sure they don't knock the display of
and what kind of car?
Glass jars down that he's going to have to pay $100 to, or who knows, or and just have this embarrassing mess.
And is he getting into a van? I mean, right. There's a lot of things to consider. Like you have some sympathy.
Well, yeah, depending on the situation. But I will say what I encounter a lot of times, though, especially where I'm at, is that there's generally same demographic of people that are doing it, and it's the older population.
Wow. We have an ageist.
That just honestly, but that's what I see. They just don't give a damn anymore. They just don't care. Like, I think a lot of times once you get to be a certain age, you're like, I don't care. I've been on this place long enough. Like, I'll do whatever the hell I want. I'm just going to leave it here.
Bow to my
wishes. And so that's kind of irritating.
I was, have you ever noticed in customer service? This is where I feel like I extend most of my grace. I've had a number of issues lately with businesses, and I'll have to call in and speak to somebody. I can't go through the 9 steps of your automated thing to get the job done I need. So I've got to talk to somebody.
Yep.
And
just press 0.
Yeah.
Give me an operator.
It used to be easy. Like you knew if you press the 0, now they've gotten more.
Oh yeah.
Like
Now they
tricksy with they more like Gollum with their tricksiness, because they will make you go through these things and then you've got to categorize your issue and pick what it is. I was dealing with a brokerage firm and I was trying to get in to talk to somebody. I got into like the base level broking people. This wasn't a certified broker that can actually help you buy and trade, sell stocks or whatever. This was like below that. So when I spoke with this person, they said, yeah, that mutual fund will be available for that particular thing you got. And so I went ahead and went forward with my planning in this brokerage account that I had based on that information, that once I funded it, I'd be able to, I think I'm losing beige here. So long story short is that I spoke with somebody and they were wrong. They gave me the wrong information. But when I call in, I'm like very polite. I think I've even thrown in a funny once in a while, and it's cool if you get a courtesy laugh and you're like, well, I hope I made her laugh, and I hope that's a real laugh. And I'm doing all these things as the customer, and I'm like kind of exhausted, because before I've even gotten to somebody, I'm just trying to make sure that we get through this and that I can honor my own convictions about being a true human. In other words, not being totally fake, but I have to be a little bit, because putting a little mustard on. I want to be the easiest customer she's dealt with today. I want to get the job done. I want to make it pleasant and easy for her. And there's a point I feel like I'm dancing and I'm getting tired, and I'm just hoping, and you want to hear some kind of reciprocity come from this person, that they're going to help you. And once you feel like you've won that over, you remember that scene in Tommy Boy where they go into the restaurant and he wants some food that they're not serving anymore. She tells him no, it's just not going to happen. And then he talks her into it. And David Spade's character is, why don't you do that on the road when we're trying to sell? And he's like, why? What did you mean? And he's like, well, you just totally made that lady do a 180, and now she's going to go get you the food you want. He says, why don't you do that? And it's just because sometimes you don't feel like investing all that energy. Well, I do that with people, and I did that with this lady, and she tried to help me. I got the information I thought I needed. Then later on from the brokerage firm, I found out that account she told me they had that mutual fund, they do not serve that mutual fund. And the guy told me, we have got to discipline her. And I said, why?
Oh, wow.
And he said,
geez.
we're trying to, I said, she was trying to help me. And he says, look, you bought this account thinking based on what she told you were going to have a mutual fund. He said, there's violations that can occur in broking, and she's not a certified broker, and she knows better than to tell you whether or not there's an imagine.
Now going to get 20 lashings.
I told the guy.
And now she's probably got 4 kids, and she's going to lose her job. And Pierce is, yeah.
Look,
I mean,
what you're saying has already occurred to me, not to the depraved level you just described, but I definitely felt. So I told the guy, I said, look.
Have you found her GoFundMe yet?
Yeah, I need to look her up. I said, look, I think we're being a little bit hard on this gal. She was trying to help me. But the point is, here's the problem I have with your brokerage, with your business, sir, is that you have different information. She should have this information available to her. It's just a question about whether or not that mutual fund is available through you. And he's like, well, I am certified to give you that kind of, and I said, that should be an easy question. And I said, at some point, I think there's the letter of the law and there's the spirit of the law. And I said, you need to honor, and I hope that you take this to heart, because I'm the customer, that she didn't really do anything wrong here. She was trying to help. So then at the end of the call, after the guy helps me and I get a bunch of good help from him and he seems like a human being, he reminds me that he's going to have to carry through on some kind of action against us. And I said, wow, are you serious, man? So I was supposed to get a customer service thing after the end of my discussion with him. I didn't get it. And I would have let them know what kind of...
I find that crazy that he actually let you know that he was going to discipline her. And because to me, if I tell somebody that, oh yeah, because she did this, I'm going to she's going to be... That would, to a normal person, for a situation that isn't crazy and drastic and very harmful, a normal person would probably feel a little bad.
Yeah.
A little guilty. If somebody said, oh, well, yeah, she's going to be disciplined because she did that, then you as a customer are like, man, I kind of feel bad. Like if you go to the grocery store and the cashier's not fast enough, or she didn't honor a coupon or something, and the manager comes over and
rips into her
in front of you, as a normal person, you're going to be like, I don't feel good about this.
I caused
that
adverse.
There's proof too in what you're saying that I think most people, 9 out of 10, maybe 9.5 out of 10, statistically are the type of person you're describing. I like to think humanity, most of it has this goodwill, is built into our DNA. I don't think people start out right out of the gate being a raging lunatic a-hole. So this guy, and I don't mean to perpetuate a stereotype, he was a stock guy selling stocks, bonds, mutual funds, whatever. And it was just like what you would expect, car salesman or whatever. And that's a horrible stereotype. But when you see people that were like this, geez, man.
Yeah.
You know, so it's weird the way people get.
That's why, like, for me, I don't know if you guys have ever been in a situation. I honestly don't think that I have. Maybe once or twice, but it was for something that I felt was pretty major, where I've actually said, I need to speak to your manager. I need to talk to a manager. I really harsh, right? Haven't done that.
Yeah, because
when you do that, now you're just trying to get that person in trouble. Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, it's a mistake. You know, I went to the cell phone store not too long ago, and I was getting a new phone, setting up my phone and everything, and there was a guy next to me that was getting a phone too, and apparently he thought the phone would be some price because of some promotion, and the guy that was helping him was saying something else, and I'm sitting right next to him, same table, but I'm like in the chair next to this guy, and this conversation with this phone rep is getting very like heated, and this guy is like, well, you just don't seem capable of understanding what I'm saying, and it's becoming heated and personal, and me as the customer sitting next to them, I'm feeling uncomfortable now because I'm witnessing this interaction between these people, and I almost got to the point where I'm like, dude, this might get physical here, and they ended up having to call the manager over, and the manager ended up doing something for the guy, and half the time, you know, the manager comes over, you don't even know if the original guy might have been adhering to policy, but the manager just has the authority to be like, all right, dude, I'll give you this price. Just get out of here because you're being so disruptive here. I don't understand people like that, because that's really how you want to go through your life. Yeah, you might have saved $50, $100, but you were a total clown to this person. You probably got him in trouble. You know, you created this drama over not much, really, at the end of the day. I don't understand people like that. And I even got to the point where I was sitting next to him, and I was serious, like I was saying stuff.
Yeah, I've done that before.
Because I'm just like,
rough, dude.
Seriously, dude, like, what are you doing here?
It's rough to watch.
Like it's embarrassing the way that you're acting.
Yeah,
I mean, you have and this guy was like in his 50s or 60s, but I felt like he's acting like some 12-year-old child, petulant, upset over something at the end of the day that, I mean, it really just being a complete clown over $50.
There's too many opportunities to make things better than we leave them. Like, we don't need to be so crazy a lot of times. Well, I've even caught myself. Do I really need to be bothered by what I'm seeing with this situation? I mean, do I really need to?
Well, and it all relates to stuff, right? Because like if you get upset, or if you blow up over the cart in the middle of Costco, or if you get upset and you blow up over $50 at the cell phone store, how are you going to react when something really happens?
Yeah.
Like, you got to be able to react and deal with the minor stuff before you can ever expect to be able to react appropriately to the bigger things that happen in your life.
No, I'll give my little short story. I had a swimming pool when I bought this last house. I've never owned a swimming pool or ever done any kind of pool maintenance before, so it's definitely new to me. We had a big storm, and something clogged up in my pool, so it was not working. The vacuum suction thing wasn't rotating the water, so it wasn't getting filtered. That's the big thing when you own a pool. You don't want your water to turn green because it's more expensive to get it corrected, right? So I was going through all my novice steps, and so my little pool sweeper stopped sweeping. And it wasn't new, so I took it over to this store. And this store, kind of the motto that they go by is trying to help novice people with pool supply stuff. To me, that's like, oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what I need. I'm not a professional, so I'm going in there and I bring in the sweeper and saying, hey, it stopped sweeping. Can you look it over and check it out, make sure it's all working good? You as the customer that are a novice, you don't want to feel like you're getting bent over and like, yeah, you needed a new set of bearings in there, and those are $1,000, you know,
right?
Just hoping the guy
will be honest with you.
I'm not sure. We had the storm, but the thing's not sweeping. And the worker I was talking to was really understanding. He said, yeah, you know what? I can't look at it right now, but if you leave it with me for a couple hours, I'll get to it, and then I'll call you back, and I'll let you know what the diagnosis is. That happens. Chloe calls me back, and he says, yeah, it just needed a couple of the gears. They're plastic. It was only like $30. It'll be ready in an hour. Come pick it up. So I go down there, pick it up, bring it back home, put it back in my pool, start it. It doesn't work. Son of a gun. So now I'm getting upset and frustrated because I can't figure it out. My frustration's not at the employee, it's at the guy. So I pull apart my pool sweep, and it's missing the gears that he was saying he was going to do. So now I'm kind of like, what the hell? Is this guy trying to get one over on me or whatever? Or maybe he just inadvertently forgot it. So I go back to the store again now the second time, and I'm like, hey man, this thing wasn't working and blah blah blah, and I pulled it apart and it's missing this. And the guy apologized. You know what? I'm so sorry. I got busy and I put the gear in it, but I didn't put the fins or whatever. So I'm like, all right, no problem. Cool, man. So he throws in the fins, and then I get back to my house, still put it back in. It still is not working. So now I'm like, God, I'm just ticked.
Now you're getting frustrated.
So I go back a third time to the place, and I ask the guy, I'm like, hey, man, can I just buy a new sweeper? And he's like, well, sir, to be honest with you, you can. We sell them here. But he goes, I looked it over. There's nothing wrong with your sweeper. I know it's a little bit older, but there's nothing wrong with it. Well, can I just buy one, and if I hook it up and it doesn't work, then I know it's not my sweeper. I know it's something else in the pool system, right? And he goes, yeah, you can do that, but we try to steer away people just trying to buy these. The sweepers are like $800, and then it's used, so the person now the store can't sell it. I get that, right? Well, the manager overhears me saying that, and he goes, well, sir, we're not going to sell you one because we know that's what you're going to do is just return it. And this is the manager tells me that.
It's coming out pretty hot.
I was kind of confused, and I go, aren't I the customer? Again, I don't get in these heated debates. Usually I try to put myself in the other person's shoes.
Now, did you say that?
Yeah, I go, I'm the customer. What?
Wow, good for
who's
you.
to say I can't buy one and then I decide to change it? And then not to mention, you're not the only store in town. Right. There's other branches of the same store within a mile from here.
What did
I don't
he
have
do?
to return it from there. Well, sir, you're not going to be able to purchase that here. And I said, you know, this is a store that prides itself on helping novice pool people. I'm telling you, I'm having a pool problem, and you don't even want to listen to kind of help me kind of describe it. I'm willing to buy an $800 pool pump from you, and if that works, I'm like,
then I'll keep it. Yeah.
If it doesn't, then I return it, right? Well, he was just like, you would thought that pool pump $800 was coming out of his wallet, and he was just fast fixed on it. And I've never in my life had a manager that hot and heated at me, and I was getting to the point where I was going to start using cuss words and all this other stuff.
Weird.
So I knew, I'm like, okay, no, I got to get out of here because that's going to take it to a different level. There's other people in the store, and I'm getting heated. And so I leave the store, and then on the bottom of my receipt for my little plastic gears that I bought, there's the 1-800 number if you have call problems. And I was like, oh, screw it, I'm gonna try. So I get a hold of the corporate office, and the guy actually is really nice, kind, cool guy, listens to my story. He says he'll talk to the guy, and he calls me back. So he talks to the employee that actually worked on my device, and then talks to the manager, and he told me that he fired the manager.
Oh, wow.
And like you said, you're kind of like, crap. But actually, I felt relieved because I was like, man, if he's willing to do that to me, what if that was like my wife or my grandma going into this pool store? If he's going to berate somebody in a store like that, he has no business being the, quote, manager of the store. Yeah. But so I kind of felt in the flip, like where you were like, you felt bad that person was going to get disciplined. At this time, I was actually feeling good that they got rid of this guy. He didn't need to be in customer service.
And maybe that's good that you were the one that predicated that because of your interaction. Luckily, you were the one that met with him, in a way.
Well, that, and have you ever felt nowadays that there's kind of a loss of human connection where you're like, am I just wasting my energy calling this 1-800 number to complain about this person? Is it just, they're going to just tell the customer whatever they want to hear?
Yeah.
And this actually worked.
Well, I hate the fact that, you go to stores a lot of times, and half the times, like if I go to a home improvement store or something, I don't even want to ask a question because I probably know more than the people that work here. half the time it's like, can I go there and actually get decent help anymore? Because nowadays, I'll be honest, like if I'm doing something involved, say like the sweeper thing or whatever, the first thing I do now, just the way I've conditioned myself in the modern age, is I go on YouTube.
You just start
I just start researching stuff myself. Yeah. It's kind of a sad commentary on the way things are nowadays, but like I don't even expect to get adequate help at most places anymore. I think 9 times out of 10, I'll do better just researching it myself and doing it myself.
That's frustrating, I know, because I think we talked about that in the last episode, where you feel like you have to become the specialist of anything that breaks in your life. If something goes wrong with your car, all of a sudden you got to research it to know, one, you're not getting screwed, two, what prices are, so you know if you're going to be getting a decent deal.
Well, I just think like, you know, our parents' generation, right? You go to the hardware store down the road, mom and pop usually. People that work in there, they know. They are knowledgeable. They knew like, oh, well, you need this. Here's this special tool. This is this. You know, they know the products. They know generally how to work on things, what it's good for.
Yeah, somebody
you know,
was in that trade.
Somebody that may be in that trade. Now it's
they just hire.
They just hire whoever, and they don't really know much about that product. So it's most of the time you just ask questions, and they just, well, look it up on your phone. You know, where's it at in the store or something? Oh, just look it up on your phone. It'll give you the bay. And like you're doing 90% of the work now. Yeah. You know? Exactly. From everything to talking to the associates to the self-checkout, all that stuff is just
but have you ever found that, like, if you're in a store, because I don't want to spend all this time looking for it, right? It's just, do you know where this is? Mm-hmm. You ever gotten that response like, oh, that's not my apartment. I can't help you. Instead of
and then that's it.
Yeah, and then that's it.
They leave it at that.
That's the response versus like...
Let me get somebody that can help.
I don't know, but let's go find out, or let's learn this together. I don't know, or I'm going to go talk to somebody that knows. Most of us would rather expect that versus, yeah, it's not my department.
Yeah.
And then just walk away.
Exactly. Yeah, because like I get it if somebody doesn't know. I won't necessarily blame that individual if they don't know, because usually that comes back to training, right? That comes back to the corporate, the company, and how they train this person. But you're right. They do have the option to say, I don't know, but we'll find out together. Or I don't know, or let me ask Jim or whoever in that department, and I'll walk you over there or something. They could do that.
Has your wife ever done this to you, dude? It gets me, dude. And I told my wife, you're going into a home improvement store, and usually, I'm sure you're probably like me, once you're starting a project, you've done the research, you know, let's say that store has 4 of those items, but you know you're buying that one item. You go to the store, your wife's with you, and you're going for that one item. An employee comes by, and your wife's like, yeah, hey, we're doing this project, and what do you think about these 4 things? And this guy comes over and starts talking to your wife about, oh, you should pick this one. It's not the one you picked. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I was trying to tell my husband that I think that might be the better one.
Damn.
And you're just kind of like, you realize I just spent 4 hours and 4 days trying to research this product, and this is the one I found.
Could you please take the knife out of the back of my bag?
Exactly. Like, it drives me crazy. And then, of course, the other product is more expensive. Do you understand what you just did?
Right. That's a rough situation, man. Sometimes, I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older, I try to make sure that Beauty knows how I do certain things, so that if something happened to me, like the whole house filtration system would be something she could contend with, or the setup for the router would be something she would know what to do. I just don't want her to trying to figure it out without any kind of background, so I'll let her know. And sometimes I'll go into this discussion, and out of the peripheral of my vision, I see her feet just kind of scurrying away, and I think, oh man,
is that as you pull up the PowerPoint?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't blame her, but I just worry about things because it's very hard to get honest help. You don't know if it's just because they don't care, they're not vested, or they're trying to make you buy the more expensive product, or you could find a better way to do something and they're not familiar with it and they don't want to lose face, or they want to look like they know what to do. On the other end of this, I'm sure that dealing with people every day in customer service scenarios is a difficult thing. I'm sure it is. I used to wait tables, so I can understand, I can appreciate. I remember, I'll never forget a guy that wanted his steak medium well, and I brought it out, and he said it was like medium. And the whole time I'm thinking, and this occurred to me a lot because I worked at a restaurant, we threw a lot of food away, but I thought, and it was instilled in me as I was a kid, there's somebody somewhere that would give anything to have your medium steak, man. instead of medium well, the way you wanted it. And I used to think, at what point do we lose perspective? And that's what I was saying earlier, is sometimes I make the mistake of getting too excited about something not working out. But there are times where if I feel like this could make some kind of impact on the business so that this doesn't continue, I'll do it. I just saved like $2,400 instead of sticking with an air conditioning company that I've been with since 2009. And I've telling all buddies, I told Beige, I said, do not do anything with this company. I caught them trying to oversell me a bunch of stuff. They're on commissions now, so when they go to your house, they have to find something that's wrong while they're doing the maintenance on your HVAC system or your air conditioning. And they have been bought out by a conglomerate that was a plumbing company, and they're just trying to get you to buy repairs.
Or a maintenance package, right?
Yeah. I was on the maintenance package, which gives you, quote unquote, 10 to 15% off. This guy was at my door and he explained to me why I had to pay. It was about $4,500. My radar was up because my system was working perfectly, but I did have a small leak of that Freon in the coils in my air handler in the attic. So it's a difficult area to get in and out of, and I had to have that replaced. Well, it was covered under the warranty, that particular item that was manufactured. So that part's covered, but the labor's not. That price I just read you was labor.
Holy crap.
So that was labor to put this new item in. They wanted to charge me $771 because it was a 2-man job. So they tacked on $771 for the other person.
Holy crap.
They tacked on the Freon for these new air conditioning systems. Oh, that just is a given. That's like $1,350, $1,395 to empty all the other and put new stuff on. So it wouldn't be a very exciting podcast. We might have lost some listeners if I go into details about this. But to suffice it to say, I called and I started doing estimates, and I found out this company was easily $2,000 over the job. And I totally told these people, and it's the second time I've caught them lying to me on stuff, man. And he told me when I left a message about how unhappy I was with what I found out, I talked to this guy. He was the manager, Kevin, of this business. And he said, oh, I just want you to know, by the way, we've had some glitches in our systems. Because I was going to leave. I told him I'm ending my relationship with you guys. I put it in a very dramatic way, yeah. And
were
he's
you playing Boys to Men, End of the Road in the background?
End of the road. And so he knew from my message I wasn't happy with them. So he's like, oh, we've actually overcharged a lot of customers. And he was telling me that. And that was weird to me because I think in my message I had indicated that if they're doing this to other people, I said, you're absolutely going to be identified when I'm done with all this because this is pervasive. And I said, that's where you're really doing a harm. I tacked that into my message. And so he was saying that that's what happened. When his person who was here, I know is working on commission, went through exactly why I was going to be charged what I was. And he was suggesting it was a glitch in the system. So that was already really weird to me. And then he was saying that if they had to take back the coil they had already picked up, it was going to cost him thousands of dollars. I knew that coil, just the price of it, it's like $589 part that I was getting for free because the other one went bad. But they weren't going to eat anything on that cost. They could take it right back to them. So he was lying to me about that. I had another company do it, and it saved me over $2,400.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I got it done. In fact, the other company that did it for $1,780, and it was actually efficient, and it wasn't the cheapest estimate I got, but I knew they were the best. And I blasted Beige. I blasted 3 other people that I knew I thought I had mentioned this company to because I do not want people to get taken by these guys.
Well, and it's a sad state of affairs in this country now, and it doesn't just relate to, retail and stuff, but I think it also relates to when you go to the doctor, you really have to do your research on your symptoms.
Scary. Yeah.
Because you have to be your own advocate in a lot of situations, because I feel that a lot of times we're just increasingly becoming a number where it's like, hey, get this guy in and out, get somebody else in here, as opposed, this is what I think I have. Can you test me for this specifically?
Right. Yeah.
But now you're putting it on that person to look into everything themselves. And luckily with the internet, for the most part, it's a pretty easy thing to do. But I just am amazed how people still in this society just put blind trust and faith in, whether it be the medical profession, whether it be retail, because you don't know who all is making commission. Anytime you go into a place, you don't know if that person's making commission or not. And in my eyes, if you're making commission, can I really trust what you're trying to sell me? Or are you just trying to sell me the most expensive thing?
Yeah,
you know?
It seems like as we've evolved in our relationship with businesses over time, we've had to become more vigilant, because it feels like there used to be more pressures on the seller to provide you with a service. And now it's to oversell you and overscam you. And this might be a nice segue into the next segment of our show, known as Scam City. Is that good, Red? Did you have anything? I didn't mean to interrupt any train of thought on that.
No, I thought it was a perfect
We're
segue.
at 41 minutes. We try to make the listeners only take us in bite-sized amounts because otherwise it could get daunting and rough. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but this to me is a scam that's being run by the customers on the business. All right. Ooh. And so this is a little kind of an audible into our scams, but a little different. I'm in Sprouts and I see a dude going through the grapes, and he's just like taking grapes off of the stems from different bags and eating them. And I'm
that's
like,
aberrant behavior.
Is this true? What is this guy doing? And so he's touching the grapes. You know, you talked about earlier, do you say something or do you say, seriously? I guess you can go in stages. One, you can just let the person know that you see them doing
like
this.
Look at them.
Yeah, look at them. So in the first,
make eye contact.
Yeah, first phase might just your acute ocular tactics, right? You look at the person. Now, if that doesn't work, then maybe you throw gosh, you know, but you're not doing it directly at them. You know, just be like, oh gosh. And then the next one is you make eye contact with them as you say to them, seriously? We could call this section seriously, bro. So I got to the second. So I let him know I saw him doing it because, dude, I was thinking of grabbing one of those bags of grapes. And
now you've just contaminated all the grapes, dude.
And dude, a guy who's just going and grabbing grapes. First of all, I wash my grapes before I eat them anyway. So a guy who's willing to just grab and eat grapes right off the stem in a store is probably not my choice for grade A hygiene. Yeah. In terms of a human being.
What does your house look like?
Yeah. What does his life look like, dude?
Yeah. You caveman.
Yeah. And so he probably, just by touching the bag, I'm like, well, that's not a bag I want. Just the bag is already contaminated with his lack of moral compass and his germs, right? So then I think, okay, I'm watching him. I let him know I see him. And then he just pretends like it's no big deal. Wherever he's from, dude, this is like nomenclature. This is no big deal. This is how it's done, right? So then I get closer and I go, like that, right?
Yeah, so you're up in it.
Yeah, I've gone to the second level, dude. And the third level is now that I say, dude, seriously? You know, I could do seriously, bro. I could just say seriously. I could say, dude, seriously.
And now at level 3, now there's probably going to be a response from him.
Yeah.
There should be, right?
And I feel like if you throw a dude in there, you've made it a little more antagonistic. If you just say seriously, that's pretty bad. But if you say, dude, seriously? That's like, oh, damn. No, he didn't.
What's level 4?
Yeah. Level 4 would be like
a karate chop to the back of the neck.
Manager.
Level 4 would be like if you said, excuse me, sir.
That's
seriously?
Disgusting.
Yeah, and then you tell him something about what he's doing. Dude, I skipped the 3rd and I went to the 4th. And I said, dude, that's seriously disgusting. I don't think I want any of those grapes thanks to you. And the guy didn't know what to say. To him, this was just like the norm.
Like, oh my gosh, this guy's a freak.
Yeah.
It's what he was thinking.
He saw Michael Douglas come out in me because I was, at what point are we going to take a stand against these grape stealers?
You were going to take a bat out and start smashing the grapes.
Yeah, right? I felt like I wanted to take one of the grapes and just put it on his forehead and smash it, right? But I didn't want to get all violent up in Sprouts because I go to that one. I'll tell you, if it was a different Sprouts, I don't know. I'm not a violent person, but the point is, dude, look, there needs to be reinforcement.
Well, and what's weird with Sprouts
enforcement in Sprouts
is that generally the people in Sprouts are
bougie.
more concerned with health and things like that.
Okay,
right?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, so you're saying
Because they're shopping at Sprouts and they're trying to get healthy foods.
So you're saying Pierce is echelon above everybody else in this mere Neanderthal.
I don't like where this is going.
Licking and touching.
Yeah.
Well, I just find
that's where this is
find it
going.
odd that somebody who is okay with eating random grapes that have been accessible to public, and you don't know where
Right.
there could be pesticides on these grapes.
Yeah.
Still, there could be people's grubby hands have been, and you're just gonna pop that right in your mouth.
Oh.
Think about
Like, that's
the
kinda
fact,
weird.
what you just said, the fact that doesn't bother him tells me that his fingers have probably been in some really disgusting
Right.
places, dude.
Like, he knows in his mind, all the fingers that have touched these grapes, they're no way more disgusting than my fingers.
Yeah, he has total disregard because he's like, nothing can be more disgusting than me. So he's
Exactly,
willing
so
to
that's
eat off
okay.
his own fingers like forks.
No.
Yeah.
Now, how many grapes was he getting? Was he just
Dude,
getting
that's the
one,
other
or
thing.
was
No, he
getting
was
a hand-
taking like a few from, and I thought, okay, at first when I watched him doing this, I was thinking, okay.
Like, these aren't Costco samples.
Yeah. These aren't samples. I started to think, okay, so he's stealing a couple grapes. Maybe he's just trying to make sure that's not a rotten bunch. But usually with grapes, dude, you can look at them and tell. In fact, there's nowhere else. It was so ironic because it occurred to me, I was actually going to call this segment scumbag eating scumbags, because you can actually see on grapes when they get scum on them. It's like a white fuzzy stuff. There's no other way I can think to describe these little bags of.
I mean,
They've been
how is that
scumbags.
an okay mentality? Because then it could be like, well, that pizza there, I kind of want that.
Yeah,
but let me
where does it
taste that.
stop?
Yeah, where does this stop? Like, oh, well, I don't know if the pizza's good. Let me eat this pizza,
Yeah.
and then I can gauge it that way to see
You're
if that
saying
was a
that's
good
not
pizza.
normal to take a bite out of a
Yeah.
rotisserie when you buy it to see
Yeah.
if it's still good or not?
That's a good one. Yeah, I like that rotisserie. Let me see which
Yeah.
one tastes
Oh,
best.
that chicken's not
Just
great.
take a
Let
wing
me
off.
move on to the,
Yeah,
to the
exactly.
next
It
one.
still has
here.
another one.
Yeah, I like these underwear that are packaged in this nice package in Costco. Let me try them on and see
Yeah.
which ones I like the way they feel the best
Yeah.
on my
No, these
privates.
aren't good. I'm gonna just toss
Yeah.
these on the floor
Yeah,
here.
somebody else will use this pair that I tried on. The guy was a human,
I like
disgusting
Wow.
scumbag.
So, what was the reaction? Was there any comment, or he just kind of stared at you like you were from outer space?
I'm not even going to say what nationality I think he was because I don't want, let's not get into all that. But I think what he tried to play it off like was that he didn't speak English a little bit. But I knew he did. I just thought.
But he
wow,
knows your
man.
reaction. Even if you don't speak the language. Like if I went to another country and somebody from that other country that I didn't speak their language, and they look at me and they're like, and they make eye contact, like you can generally tell that somebody's not happy with what you're doing.
Well,
right?
the nonverbal cues are universal. And I did kind of have those on my face, I would think, because I think there was a look of horror on my face.
Yeah.
But he tried to play it off like he didn't understand what I was saying. But
Especially
then-
when you go,
Yeah, that's a universal.
yeah, that's universal.
A deep breath out of the. So when
Like
when I walked away, I heard some family member come over to him, and then he started speaking in perfect English, and I was like, dude, that's not. The whole thing was the whole guy. His whole existence in life is a scam. The guy is just one big scam.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I'm thinking like the little things where you have the nuts and the candies like that you can put in the
yeah.
bag. You could do that there
Yeah.
too. Just pop a few of those
Yeah.
in your mouth, right?
You know what? I got a bad bag of macadamia nuts at Sprouts, and man, I love those. They're the only nut, by the way, you can eat that isn't high in oxalates. Now they are high in fats, but you don't have to worry about that.
Whoa.
But
Fats aren't that bad.
yeah, they're actually good and it's the good fats. It's the monounsaturated fats. I did try one. Because what happened a while back.
So you're getting mad at the guy for doing
That's
what
why
you just doing.
That's why I feel I have to say something. I tried one because what's happening is, and I didn't know this. I did some research, so this is going to be a PSA.
Can't you just grab the nuts and
Just
kind
grab a
of
handful and
just grab those nuts and,
So
and feel them and see if
let's not
they're-
even dignify that with others. If you get these, I don't want to say nuts anymore. When you get these macadamians and you take them home and you're all happy, they're probably the more expensive nuts. It's a good little investment. I like to get a bunch of them and I put them in my oat bran. Well,
Make sure there's no hair on them or anything.
if they taste kind of funny, or if they taste like almost like a chlorinated smell, then they've gone rancid. Now, you would think when you hear the word rancid is that's going to be really obvious. It's not with nuts. You have to kind of pay attention. So I did a lot of research, and it said, do not eat, rancid nuts. Surprise, surprise.
Oh, wow.
Wow. I'm sorry that I said that
PSA,
sentence.
yeah.
That's too bad.
Pierce
I told you.
Pierce is Googling, can you eat rancid nuts?
Yeah, you would be surprised at what I found on the internet when I
up.
Googled rancid nuts. But the point is, don't eat rancid nuts. Let's just say macadamias. So I won't do that often, but because I went back to the same place where I'd gotten the ones before, I just tried one. But dude, if I had seen the guy take one grape, I'd be like, okay, he's just making sure, even though you can visually tell with grapes. But this is a long thing. But the problem is that let's stop it. Let's just stop it with the taking of the free produce. And if you see a guy doing that, do a cough. Do something.
Anything that involves you ruining or consuming produce is not a proper way to check produce.
Correct.
It has to be available for the next customer to buy.
Yeah, you can't.
So visual inspection would be okay. Visual would be.
And I didn't go in and touch all the
nuts.
Macadamias. I wasn't going to say nuts.
Whoa, just the way you put your
I
hand.
didn't go in there and cup all the nuts, right? So I just grabbed the two. But he was grabbing the whole thing so that he could pull a grape off, and you could see him touching the whole.
Now, what if you saw kids doing this?
Same thing. I'd be like, "Hey,
little Timmy, you got way too many hands in those."
It's
nuts.
the first time I would sound like an adult. Son, step away from the nuts.
But what's different with grapes or nuts? Say it's like a 7-8-year-old kid that's doing it, and their parents are around. And now you said something to little Timmy.
Yeah, now you gotta fight.
Now you might have a conflict with mom or dad. Like, how dare you tell my kid? Because some parents would be like, "Yeah, what are you doing?" Like
that's what you
they
want to
back
see.
up the stranger saying something because the stranger's not. He's just look. That's not acceptable behavior. And some of the parents would be like, "Yeah, that's fine." But then there's other parents who are like, "Don't you dare talk to my kid." Right. And now it's.
The way I would love to do it is go up to the parents and put my hand kind of point to them.
Seriously,
and then
bro?
point at their kid and then point at the grapes and be like,
dude, seriously?
Maybe that's a like a 2.5 stage. We had the 3 phases. Maybe that'd be like 2.5, and then just see what they do from there. If they say, "How dare you talk to my kid?" then it's, let's do this. It's time to get it on.
Right?
Yeah. It's time to get it on, bro.
Brawl
and now, unfortunately, your 8-year-old offspring is going to see what happens when your aberrant produce eating family leaves the house and does willy-nilly.
One thing he'll remember for the rest of his life is don't eat grapes and sprouts.
Yeah, not ever. Don't even look at my grapes, dude.
Well, so mine.
Tired.
What's your scam city?
Well, I don't really. It's not really a scam city, but it's something that I'm vulnerable to, and I know I'm vulnerable
up
to
on
this
the show, dude.
Wow.
I like it. Opening up.
We're getting.
Let us look at the nucleus of who Beige is.
No, but I don't know about you guys, but say you go into a gas station and the sodas or the drinks are 3 for $5. Every time I have to get 3.
Yeah. No,
are you guys ever able to get just 1 or 2? If it's special, I'm getting the 3 for $5, dude.
Sometimes I feel good if I take 1 and I still get the same price. I feel like I socked it to the business, and I always do that. And my beauty's always like, "You got to get 3. It says 3."
I know, but even if I get the same price, the marketing is so superficial, yet it works on me so easily. Where it says 3 for $5.
They own you.
Even if it's 1 for $1.75 or whatever, it's I'm still getting 3.
They just Jedi mind trick you into getting.
No, I'm the same. Get the deal.
Yeah.
So you buy the 3 just to make sure.
Absolutely.
That
just
you got
to make
the deal.
sure, and just because you're most of it is I'm going to drink it anyways. The energy drinks, I drink way too much of those. But if they're 3 for $5, I'm going to drink these anyways.
How embarrassing is it if you do that and then the clerk says, "Oh, sir, you need to get actually 2 more before we'll give you that." I've had that happen to me once.
Yeah, you have to have a minimum.
And then I had to make the decision, and I kind of felt like Daniel Craig at that moment, like in a James Bond. Do I do the walk of shame back to the aisle to get 2 more cans of garbanzo beans? Or do I just say, I'll just
as the line is forming behind you?
And there's a line behind you. Yeah. It's kind of a calculated risk.
Well, I'll tell you, at the grocery stores now here, but back in the day, you would go to the grocery stores and stuff would just be on sale. That's
straightforward.
Just straightforward on sale. Then now it's on sale, but you need the card. So now if you don't have the card, it's not on sale. Well, now it's on
app.
sale. You need the card. You need the app, the digital coupon.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I've gone shopping with my wife before. I'm like, I can't deal with the digital coupons and like, oh, well, you just pull up the app and then you clip and then you put it in your little coupon. And I'm like, this is ridiculous, dude.
How
this
silly
is
do you
absolutely
feel,
ridiculous that you have to do all this. And then a lot of times it'll be like, well, 10 for $10, but it's like 10 of like separate items in the store, and they all qualify
The 10 of 10.
the 10 for 10. So you have to keep track of how many of these 10 for 10s you've got so that you can get that deal.
Yeah.
It's just way too
It's way too
it's like
complicated.
calculus
They're
now
playing
at the
with your
grocery
emotions,
store. It's
man.
ridiculous, man.
I don't like those apps because I feel like they're spying on the stuff I'm doing all day, which I don't really have anything to hide anyway. I've never had a like always when people say, "Oh, I don't want the government looking at my Facebook page or whatever." There's nothing to hide on my, you're putting it on there anyway. But for some reason, dude, when people want to put an app on my phone and then you see all the cookies, we talked about that before. Where does this come on?
And then it's just promotion because then it'll be like, oh, this dude bought some yogurts.
Yeah.
Here's an ad for yogurts,
This is
and
his
it's
third,
like
his third Star Wars helmet this week.
You're like, I don't want yogurts, but that's a good deal.
Yeah.
I'll get the damn yogurts.
They're spying on your buying habits, and then they're turning them around and using them for evil.
I like the days when it's just, okay, that's on sale. Just get it. It's on sale. It's easy.
No,
There's no
absolutely.
coupons.
During these
There's
rants, have you come up with a scam, Red, one that's troubling you?
I don't know why. Maybe it's our neighborhood or whatnot. But lately, again, it's my opinion. So whether it's right or wrong, it's my opinion. I get somebody knocking on my door, and nowadays, like in the realm of cell phones and apps and security
nothing
cameras,
good comes from
nothing
a random
good
knock.
ever follows somebody knocking on your door.
A random unannounced.
And again, it's not just one time or one guy. It's
A team.
different guys doing the same thing. The solar salespeople. Like, hey man, I just had a guy last week. Oh, that must have been the solar other company. Their products are not as good as ours, and it's just like such a scam. You buy my product because it's better because I say so, and the other guys are all crap. I don't even want none of you to come to my house, let alone one. If your product's that good, it should just sell itself. Like, bro, here's a pamphlet. I could see you might be thinking about it. If you have any questions, my business card's on there. I believe if you do the research, you'll see that our product's the best. If he would have said something like that, I would
Respect
much
it more. Yeah.
Okay, I'll research it and then I'll call you with any questions. If you're so passionate about your product, it should kind of sell itself.
They never do that either. They never
Because
leave you a
they're
business card.
because they're all commission and they're so damn desperate to make
Yeah.
a sale.
Absolutely. And it's almost like, and you know what? I'm not going to knock on Girl Scouts, but don't you feel there's a season of Girl Scouts that when you're at the grocery store, dude, I was just...
And they give you that puppy dog look
yeah,
as you walk
you're
in.
like... Don't get me wrong. I bought a box the day before, and now I forgot something at the store, and I got to pass the same little girls again, and it's like, Sarah, would you like some cookies? And you feel like such a douche when they're like,
Dude.
No.
That reminds me of that movie, The Never-Ending Story, where you have to Atreyu had to walk past those two huge statues, and they were looking down. If his heart wasn't true, then their eyes would light up and shoot these laser beams and kill him. Wow, this is embarrassing that I know all this. It was a good movie, but it's like that's the same thing. Like you can't pass the plane of the store without being seen. And then when they got their parents and the mom, she looks at you like with some shame. You can't even look at my little girl.
What? You know what though? The next time that happens to me, I'm going to be like, hold on, give me a second. Give me one of those boxes of Thin Mints. I'm going to turn over the nutrition facts and be like, 50 grams of sugar.
Right, you're killing me.
Peddling drugs.
Yeah, you're
here.
Yeah, you're
like
killing
you're
people.
okay. You have your kid out here. You're
Right.
peddling diabetes.
Yeah. How do you feel now?
How do you feel?
Yeah. Who has the shame now?
Yeah.
How dare you? Do you feel
Yeah.
bad killing people?
Yeah. Little Cindy here. She's
Yeah.
like a drug. She's no better than a drug pusher.
Hey, Cindy, let me give you a knife so you can stab somebody, because that's kind of, you
Yeah.
might, if you want to kill him faster, you could just do it that way. Wow.
So yeah.
Talk about a scam that we
yeah.
never even.
So next time you want to make me feel guilty, Girl Scouts,
Yeah.
the tables will be turned.
Riddled with your crack, aka sugar, that you're trying to kill me with and get addicted to. So I have withdrawals if I don't eat your cookies for 1 week.
No,
Wow.
I know. Like back to the whole thing on the door. The other day, I think I was expecting a delivery or something, and sometimes they ring the doorbell.
Yeah.
I was expecting a delivery and the doorbell rang. And so I thought maybe it was that delivery. Of course it wasn't. It was some guy selling magazines again, you know?
Wow.
And
who does that?
I know. And like my assumption anymore is like, dude, that's a scam.
Yeah.
Like magazines. Somehow you're scamming. And I don't want to be a jerk, but the longer you indulge these people, the worse it gets. And the more they get their hooks in you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anymore, I just see them and they're trying to do their pitch. And I just, bro, I'm not going to waste your time. I said, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Thanks. And give them respect. Like, hey, you're not getting a sale here. So stop wasting your time. See you later.
Yeah,
you know? And I just turn around because the minute that they feed on the people that are wishy-washy, they feed on the people that don't want to, I feel bad that's how they make their sales and their money. So unfortunately, you have to be direct and,
or they'll
and
start
stern,
asking you like real personal questions like,
well, let me ask you.
Are you the owner of the house?
Yeah.
Who wants to know, punk?
Yeah.
No, I've had that before where it's your, oh no, I'm a renter. Yeah, no, sorry, bro. Yeah, no.
I actually kind of hear on a B&B thing, and we use this house just to kind of stash some of our criminal paraphernalia.
Yeah. I'm glad you showed up. Do you want to be involved?
I've thought of all kinds of weird things.
No, they would say if you said, no, I'm just a renter, they'd be like, you know what? Give your landlord a call. I'll just hang by here. If you just want to give your landlord a call real quick, I'll just hang by and you let me talk to him.
Do you guys remember the Kirby salesman? Way back in the day,
vacuums?
The vacuums, right? Back then, they were still $2,500, which back then was a lot of money. But
is that like a Flowbee?
No, they were like a traditional vacuum.
Oh, it's not a hair cutter?
But they were the old school, like metal with the big old bag. And the thing was with them, I was home one summer and I hear a knock at my door. And this guy's got, hey, I'm the Kirby salesman, whatever. I have these vacuums that we sell, and part of it is our product is so we'll demonstrate by vacuuming one of your rooms, and we'll do the other two completely free of charge if you just let us tell you about the vacuum. So I'm like, whatever, I'm a kid at home. Okay, yeah.
Oh, so they wanted to come in and vacuum the house to show you?
Their thing is like, okay, we'll show you how good.
And you were a kid, probably what, like
17 or 16.
Red probably felt fine letting him in because you're a giant and you just destroy them.
Well, that I'm like thinking, okay, maybe this guy's got something here, whatever. Like, I got nothing to lose. I can't buy it anyways. I don't have any money. So,
do you have any candy you want to give me too, sir? I'll take that. So, it's in your van. I'll be right there.
Yeah. So his thing was
puppies.
His thing was, and I'll give it up. Like that thing was pretty cool. He shows you, okay, but you use your vacuum on a little spot of your rug and you vacuum it up, and then now do you think that's clean? It's like, okay, yeah, it looks clean. I just vacuumed it. Okay, then he gets his Kirby vacuum and vacuums over it, and then he pulls out the bag and he shows you like, this is how much better our product is because look at all these other hairs like pet hair and stuff that yours wasn't getting because it just doesn't have the power that this does.
Well, geez, how do you know that came from your house? That's
the point too, and then. But they don't tell you the price of it. I'm a naive guy. I'm like thinking, okay, your vacuum's probably $50, $100. Well, he does his vacuuming and he shows you like, yeah, look at all this stuff we got out. Like you could be getting this out. This is how much cleanliness you're missing out on by not having this product. But the product's $2,500, and I was like,
you're like, my parents only give me authorization to approve $1,000 purchase, sir. I can't go $2,500.
I will say, like, I felt like I took advantage of his system he then
that's on
did
him,
all the
man.
vacuuming
He should have
for
seen.
It. All the vacuuming for me with his really nice Kirby, and then he should have known better. Like I was a 17-year-old kid,
right?
I couldn't make that.
People that do that
Stupid
and like
idiot.
the solar thing, like they gotta know the drop is gonna come when I drop the number on this dude.
Yeah,
because I'm pitching everything and how great it is,
They
but they
push
have
that
to
off.
know in their mind when I tell this guy this vacuum's $2,500.
Yeah,
the reaction's gonna be like, "What the f?" You know, in their mind they have to be thinking. Okay, that's when I kind of pull the rug out from like the solar thing. I had a solar guy come over and it was, dude, to put solar in our house, it was so outrageous. The total cost was going to be like $65,000 or $70,000. And I'm just
ridiculous.
Dude, like it sounds great and everything, but you got to realize at the end of the day, you're asking for 70 grand.
Yeah. At my door.
At my door. Like you're asking for $70,000.
Yeah, you know what?
Hey, you're my kind
such
of
a nice
guy.
Here's 70 G's.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I didn't know you 10 minutes ago, but now I feel like, yeah.
Well, and they just
$70,000,
feel like,
no
and they
problem.
just feel like, oh, well, but you're not going to have an electric bill. But then you go online and you do the research, and sometimes you see people that are like, no, I still have an electric bill, and I'm paying now more because, and you have all these horror stories, but they just try to make it, oh, well, it's going to be no money out of pocket for you at the end of the day. And I'm like, but you still realize that this is a $70,000 commitment here,
Oh, yeah.
right?
And you're still tapped into the grid, and those grid controllers have control.
Well,
Right.
Well, that and two, it's electronics, and we all know about electronics. After a couple of years, it's outdated.
They're gonna fail.
Yeah. Well, it'll fail, but then it's outdated. You need to get the new one because they're so much better at collecting the sun rays and blah 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 blah. blah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely
Well, and I hate
city.
it. And I hate it because eventually, like, if they're super pressure on you, I really don't want to be the bad guy, but you're forcing me into a corner here where I'm going to have to be a jerk
Yeah.
and just tell you,
I hate-
leave me the hell alone. Go away. If you don't stop, I'm going to call, because they are so aggressive.
Oh yeah.
I don't like to be forced to be mean, man. I don't like to be, or even sometimes assertive is when you have to be that assertive, but you have to be willing and able and sometimes quick to do it. So otherwise you're at the door for 30 minutes.
And that's why I said, now when I just say, dude, I'm not going to waste your time.
Yeah.
And I turn around and go back in. I'm not going to
And
waste
you're
your
saying
time.
it
I'm not
in a
going to
nice
waste.
way because you're saying your time too.
Yeah. Like, I'm considerate of your time. Like, why do you want to sit here for an hour trying to sell some dude who's never going to buy your stuff?
If
Correct.
it's my time and it's your time, isn't it our time? And with that being said, that was a good Scam City section of our show. Everybody had something to add. I don't think anybody was better than another. Not that there's a contest. I really feel like we all contribute. I thought it was rude the way you guys said that the beginning of the show should be banned from all existence because I sang a little bit. I thought it was
Well, you have
interesting.
auto-tune. Maybe you can auto-tune that.
Yeah, maybe
singing.
that'll-
Trying to save themselves now because they feel guilty. This is Pierce thanking all of our listeners. I mentioned in the last show that if you'd like, you can reach out to us on social media, Facebook. So we seem to get some traffic there, and Instagram. And then just send us a message if you want to send us a private message. I think people don't like to be identified, so they don't respond to things publicly. But if you want to send us a message and let us know something that you'd like us to discuss, something that's troubling you, or you want us to come up with a solution, and we will feature you on the show or mention you. If you want your name mentioned, feel free to say that. If you don't, we'll attack it just like we do everything with a lot of heroism and humility. This is Pierce signing off with my bros.
Red.
Beige.
Thank you for tuning in. Take care. Be cool. Be kind. Be back in 2 weeks.